Chapter 9, Constant Temperature, Part 1. The next morning, being in a hurry was perfectly natural. She was awakened by Yi Chen again, and he was already up, looking fresh and holding her phone. Your phone. Oh. Mosheng struggled to open her eyes and reached out to take it. However, she was interrupted by Chen Jia, who was going to Hong Kong with her, and she burst into a tirade. Xiao Mosheng, do you know what time it is now? We are all waiting for you at the airport. Hurry up. If you dare to act like a slow tortoise, I'll stomp on you, hammer you to death, and turn your skull into a pendant. A series of typical threats from Chen Jia. Now Mosheng was fully awake and checked the time, quickly getting up. In a hurry, she put on her clothes and packed her luggage, but Yi Chen couldn't stand her disorderly behavior and grabbed her, saying, "Can you be more organized? You've buttoned it wrong." Ha! Mosheng lowered her head and saw Yi Chen's slender fingers calmly rebuttoning her coat. The embarrassment and shyness she temporarily ignored because of her anxiety suddenly surfaced, and her face gradually turned red. All right. Sensing the ambiguous atmosphere, Yi Chen's heart fluttered slightly, then he let go, clearing his mind, and took the car keys. Hurry up, pack your things, and I'll take you to the airport. When they arrived at the airport, there were only 20 minutes left for boarding. Mosheng hurriedly got out of the car but was stopped by Yi Chen. I'm running out of time. He paused suddenly, and Mosheng stared at the extra item on her left ring finger. A very simple platinum ring with an extremely plain design, no extravagant patterns, just a small circle of diamonds embedded in the delicate patterns of the ring. It looked unexpectedly elegant and generous. When did you buy it? I don't remember. It had been too long. I found it yesterday evening. Oh. Mosheng raised her hand and looked dumbfoundedly at the ring on her finger. Under the winter sun, it shimmered with brilliant light. You have less than 10 minutes now. Yi Chen smiled, reminding her. 10 minutes. Mosheng immediately imagined Chen Jia holding a hammer. She was doomed. Without even saying goodbye, Mosheng took her luggage and ran, but she couldn't help but lower her head multiple times to look at the ring on her finger while running. The overwhelming happiness in her heart seemed to overflow and burst out. Hong Kong, China. This time, the magazine company dispatched representatives to Hong Kong mainly to discuss cooperation with a Hong Kong magazine. It had nothing to do with Mosheng, but because she was fluent in English, she was brought along as an interpreter. Thanks to their well-prepared negotiations, the discussions went very smoothly. After signing the contract 3 days later, the team had some free time. That evening, they went out for shopping. Oh my God. Why are cosmetics so cheap here? It's killing me. I just bought this necklace for 1,000 yuan more. Chen Jia was complaining loudly in the shopping mall. Originally, she was there to accompany Mosheng for shopping, but later, she became even more enthusiastic about shopping in Hong Kong than Mosheng herself. After a whole night of shopping, she seemed more tired than the intense meetings in the previous days. Back at the hotel in the evening, Chen Jia collapsed on the bed like a dead body. Mosheng looked at the phone on the table, hesitating whether to call Yi Chen. You should call, and it's reimbursable. Mosheng was startled by Chen Jia's sleep-talking, turning to look at her as she turned over with her eyes closed. Could it be sleep-talking? Picking up the phone, Mosheng dialed the familiar number. Soon, Yi Chen's calm voice came from the other end, Mosheng. Mosheng was taken aback. How did you know it was me? Were they on the same wavelength? Caller ID. Oh, then are you off work? You called the home phone. Mosheng was speechless. There was silence on the other end for a while, and Mosheng could feel that Yichen sighed. What have you been doing in Hong Kong these past few days? Oh. Mosheng immediately began to report her activities. Whenever there was nothing else to say, Yichen would casually bring up another topic. The call lasted almost an hour, and even after hanging up, Mosheng was still immersed in the conversation. On the other side, Yichen hung up the phone and picked up a pen, but he didn't write a word for a long time. The cold seemed to have subsided since she had not coughed during their call. Her cold should be better now. The law firm had achieved a series of victories recently, and after the routine meeting, everyone was in high spirits and didn't want to disperse. It was clear that they intended to play a trick on the three senior lawyers. With a boss like Lao Yuan, who loved to have fun, he generously said, "All right, wherever you want to celebrate, just tell me, all expenses will be covered by the three lawyers." After much discussion, they suddenly heard someone suggest, "How about we go to Lawyer He's house?" The meeting room immediately fell silent, and all eyes turned to the speaker, who was an intern at the firm, Xiao Gao. Everyone looked at her, and even the usually open-minded girl felt a bit embarrassed. I just thought, instead of going somewhere else, why not have a hot pot at Lawyer He's house? We can do it ourselves, and it would be more meaningful. Her suggestion made some people consider it, but they didn't dare to join in too eagerly. The three senior lawyers at the firm, besides Lao Yuan, were not easy to get close to, especially Lawyer He. He always kept a certain distance from others, both professionally and personally. However, Lawyer He's house. It would be interesting to see it. Yes, that's a good idea. Lao Yuan suddenly clapped his thigh. I didn't think of that. Your house is big enough, so it's perfect. We can eat freely there. What do you think? It's up to you to decide. Lao Yuan's suggestion made everyone even more eager, and they all looked expectantly at Yichen. With the hopeful gazes from everyone, Yichen couldn't help but smile. As long as you don't think it's too cheap, you're welcome. The car was driving steadily, and Xiao Gao sat in the passenger seat, unable to contain her excitement. Just after the assignments were made, everyone else went to buy hot pot ingredients, while she and Lawyer He went back to prepare. Today must be her lucky day. Taking a sneak peek at Lawyer He, she couldn't help blushing. Although she had only been interning with Lawyer He for a few days, she had already come to understand what an outstanding and upright man he was. It was impossible not to be attracted to such a man. Lawyer He, what kind of person do you like? Xiao Gao curiously asked with a naive and bold student-like innocence. Yichen smiled, finding her question intriguing, and he was actually at a loss for an answer. Don't you know, Lawyer He? Xiao Gao said disappointedly, feeling like she had lost her direction. But then she tried again. Have you ever liked someone? She tried to imagine how this seemingly forever rational and indifferent Lawyer He would look when he liked someone. Would he be gentle? It was hard to imagine. Of course, this question was much easier to answer. Ah. So you have. She must be very exceptional. No, quite the opposite. Yichen shook his head. She's not exceptional at all. She was just an average student who didn't care much about her studies and always wanted to play. Her personality was all over the place, quite troublesome. Unfortunately, it seemed she was still the same, and he had no idea where she was now. Oh, is she pretty then? Yichen smiled and objectively said, not bad, but there are many prettier women out there. Then she must be very elegant. Elegant? Not at all. Yichen sighed. She's noisy. She used to call his name incessantly, making it sound like Yichen, 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 and whenever he closed his eyes, he could hear it, but when he opened his eyes, it was just emptiness. He started hating her from that time. Xiao Gao was puzzled. Not exceptional, not very pretty, and it seemed she wasn't an elegant beauty according to lawyer He's words. Then why do you like her? Why? Yichen couldn't figure it out either. Maybe it was because her chattering voice filled his empty soul. Maybe it was because she didn't like studying but still accompanied him to the self-study room, only to fall asleep accidentally, drooling on half of his criminal law book. Maybe it was because she failed her English level 4 test but still enthusiastically celebrated his excellent grade in level 6. However, she was scolded by him that time for not teaching his girlfriend properly. At that time, she pitifully raised her hand, vowing to pass level 4 next time and not embarrass him. Unfortunately, she never had the chance again. Yichen slightly turned his head, and the intern girl was still waiting for his answer. He smiled slightly, feeling helpless. My taste was not good back then. Once I liked her, there was nothing I could do. Why was it so noisy outside? Mosheng buried her head under the blanket, but the noisy sound still pierced her ears. Was it the sound of the TV? Was Yichen back? Turning over and getting out of bed, she was still a bit confused. She opened the bedroom door, only to be stunned immediately. Why were there so many people in the living room? The people in the living room also noticed her standing at the bedroom door, and one by one, they fell silent. Staring blankly at each other, the room became quiet. Yichen came out of the kitchen with dishes and saw Mosheng standing at the bedroom door. He raised an eyebrow in surprise and furrowed his brow. Come in and put on your shoes. Ha! Oh. Mosheng looked at her feet, realizing she had rushed out without wearing shoes. Yichen put the things on the table and politely nodded to the people. Excuse me for a moment. Everyone nodded stupidly until the host's figure disappeared behind the bedroom door, and then Mating finally reacted. Lawyer he is actually. Xiao Gao and Lao Yuan looked at each other and saw disbelief in each other's eyes. But the evidence was solid, the bedroom, the pajamas. They both shouted out the answer at the same time, living together. Idol shattered. Xiao Gao's heart was broken. She thought lawyer he was a super serious person, but he was actually living with someone in secret. What a blow. Tears of a man fell from Lao Yuan's eyes. Even Yichen was living together with someone, yet he was still single. Xiangheng didn't seem as surprised as them. Although he couldn't have imagined that Yichen would be living together with Xiao Mosheng, he said, I told you, as long as he meets Xiao Mosheng, any of Yichen's principles can be compromised. Once in the bedroom, Mosheng saw Yichen leaning against the bed, waiting for her. She looked at him with big eyes, feeling guilty. Wearing his pajamas and with messy hair, she stood there half asleep. Yichen sighed and took the clothes from the side of the bed. I'm used to it. I'll go out first, and you come out after you put on your clothes. When Yichen went outside, everyone's expressions were back to normal. After all, most of them were already lawyers or future lawyers, and they had to be calm in such situations. Xiangheng and Lao Yuan were smoking on the balcony. When they saw Yichen coming out, they waved at him. Handing a cigarette to Yichen, Lao Yuan enthusiastically asked, illegitimate cohabitation. Yichen raised an eyebrow, it's legal. Upon hearing this, Xiangheng was taken aback, and even the old smoker Lao Yuan choked, coughing for a long time before reacting. What does legal mean? It means a long-term contractual relationship established on the basis of equality and mutual consent between a man and a woman. Yichen explained in a very legal manner. Lao Yuan was dumbfounded. Yichen smiled. To put it simply, I'm already married, so you guys should prepare red envelopes. Ah! You! Lao Yuan yelled loudly, jumping into the living room to announce this explosive news. Xiangheng didn't seem as surprised as them. Although he couldn't have imagined that Yichen would be living together with Xiao and Mosheng, he said, I told you, as long as he meets Xiao and Mosheng, any of Yichen's principles can be compromised. Once in the bedroom, Mosheng saw Yichen leaning against the bed, waiting for her. She looked at him with big eyes, feeling guilty. Wearing his pajamas and with messy hair, she stood there half asleep. Yichen sighed and took the clothes from the side of the bed. I'm used to it. I'll go out first, and you come out after you put on your clothes. When Yichen went outside, everyone's expressions were back to normal. After all, most of them were already lawyers or future lawyers, and they had to be calm in such situations. Xiangheng and Lao Yuan were smoking on the balcony. When they saw Yichen coming out, they waved at him. Handing a cigarette to Yichen, Lao Yuan enthusiastically asked, illegitimate cohabitation? Yichen raised an eyebrow. It's legal. Upon hearing this, Xiangheng was taken aback, and even the old smoker Lao Yuan choked, coughing for a long time before reacting. What does legal mean? It means a long-term contractual relationship established on the basis of equality and mutual consent between a man and a woman. Yichen explained in a very legal manner. Lao Yuan was dumbfounded. Yichen smiled. To put it simply, I'm already married, so you guys should prepare red envelopes. Ah! You! Lao Yuan yelled loudly, jumping into the living room to announce this explosive news. Xiangheng seemed less surprised, but he still couldn't help but feel astonished. Congratulations, he sincerely said. Yichen replied with a faint smile, thank you. Chapter 9, Constant Temperature, Part 2. Unlike the tranquility on the balcony, the living room was already in an uproar due to Lao Yuan's announcement. Just at this moment, Mosheng came out, and once again, she was scared by the blatant gazes of everyone. Xiao Gao looked at the woman in front of her with admiration and curiosity. Was she the one that lawyer he liked once he liked? She didn't seem as noisy and troublesome as lawyer he described. At least now, she looked a bit uneasy standing there. Ah! Meiting exclaimed softly, you are the one who found lawyer he's wallet. Mosheng also recognized her and smiled at her, hello. Xiao Gao immediately seized the opportunity and asked Meiting, do you know the inside story? Meiting said, I received her once before. That time, she found lawyer he's wallet, which probably had some identification cards or business cards. She came to return it to the law firm, and I think they must have gotten to know each other because of that. And then, with the addition of some female imagination, a love story sparked from her act of honesty. Meiting's voice was not small, and everyone around listened intently, savoring every word. Mosheng, on the other hand, was dumbfounded. Miss Meiting would be perfect for writing love stories for their magazine. It was a waste to keep her in the law firm. Ah! In the future, when you find a woman's wallet, you must return it, a certain man summarized after hearing the story. Xiao Gao immediately embarrassed him. Now it's your turn to be a dinosaur. Everyone burst into laughter, and just at that moment, Yichen and Xiangheng finished smoking and came back. Taking advantage of the lively atmosphere, someone called out, lawyer he, confess leniently and resist strictly. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you in a court of law. What was going on here? Were all these future legal professionals raised on Hong Kong crime films? Yichen chuckled. All right, I confess. Should I make my statement while eating? Of course, lawyer, he would not actually confess anything, and no one dared to press him for the truth. The enthusiasm shifted quickly to the hot pot, and they joyously ate until after 9 o'clock before dispersing. Mosheng had been keeping her head down, avoiding everyone's curious looks, and eating voraciously. When Yichen returned after sending his female colleagues home, he saw her sitting on the sofa, looking completely unwilling to move. Didn't you say you didn't want to come out to eat? Yichen approached her and lifted her up from the sofa, saying, You seem to have gained quite a bit of weight. Yichen murmured, wondering how much she had eaten. What did you say? Suddenly being held in his embrace, Mosheng reacted a bit slowly. Did she mishear something? Nothing, Yichen's voice suddenly sounded a little hoarse. Nothing is strange. That night, Mosheng finally understood the meaning of absence makes the heart grow fonder. Over the next few days, Yichen received concerns from all directions. First, old Zhou from the court called. Xiao He, last time when you said you got married, I thought you were making excuses, but I didn't expect you actually got married. Now, my old lady can rest assured, and I can have some peaceful days. By the way, don't forget to send me the wedding invitation. Then Fang Jian from the prosecutor's office. Is it the girl from KFC? I knew it from that day. I just didn't expect you to move so fast. When are you treating us to the wedding banquet? Followed by Li, the lawyer from the joint law firm, and so on. Yichen sincerely admired Lao Yuan's speed in spreading the news. Probably everyone at a university's political and legal studies already knew about his marriage. This afternoon, after sending away a few old clients, Lao Yuan sat on the sofa without moving and asked Yichen, When are you planning to treat your friends? I'll consider after the new year. I haven't told Mosheng yet. That's too late. There are still a few months until the new year. After the university's anniversary celebration is over, it should be about time. Get it done early. Lao Yuan was very enthusiastic. He liked lively gatherings. The university's anniversary celebration. Yichen checked the calendar and indeed saw that the centennial anniversary celebration of C University was marked on the 15th. He had been too busy lately and had forgotten about this matter. Let's decide on the date later. When the time comes, I'll invite you to be the witness. Yichen smiled. Over the years, though never spoken, he was truly grateful to Lao Yuan. Without Lao Yuan's background and capabilities, he might not have been where he was today. Witness is good. Lao Yuan was happy. As long as it saves on the red envelopes, any role is fine. Just as they were talking, another call came in, and Lao Yuan joyfully waved his hand and went out. It was a call from the female editor of Show Beauty about an interview. The first time Jelly mentioned it, Yichen refused. At that time, he hesitated because he remembered it was Mosheng's workplace, so his tone was probably a bit stiff. Jelly didn't mention it again. Now, Yichen still politely declined. I'm sorry, Miss Tao. I don't think I'm suitable to appear as the cover person in a women's magazine due to professional image issues. Is it because of the professional image of lawyer He? Actually, our magazine aims to feature urban singles, and we would objectively and fairly evaluate your profession. I believe it will not harm your professional image. In this regard, lawyer He can take a look at our previous coverage on Mr. Kong Jianyan. Tao Yijing was persistent in persuading. Single. Yichen seized on the keyword and said gently, Miss Tao, I think I may not fit your magazine's requirements as a single. I got married not long ago. As the other party fell silent, Yichen exchanged a few more polite words and then hung up. He checked the messages and found one from Mosheng. Yichen, what should we eat tonight? Yichen rarely sent text messages. During his college days, text messages were still a luxury, and he, a poor student, couldn't afford them. So he missed the golden age of text messages. After he started working and could afford it, he got used to making phone calls, clear, direct, and fast. Occasionally, Yi would send him a text message, but he didn't have the time to respond, usually calling her back right away to ask what was going on. Gradually, Yi sent fewer and fewer text messages. At this moment, he held the phone, patiently typing each word one by one. What do you want to eat? After sending it, he checked the time. It was not yet 3:30. Sure enough, it was Mosheng's style. When they used to eat lunch together, after leaving the cafeteria, she would pull him aside and consult him. Yichen, what should we eat for dinner? Soon, a reply came. How about eating at home? Are you going to cook? Yes. Mosheng used multiple exclamation marks. Yichen hadn't had time to reply when her next message came, but I heard that it's not very tasty. Who said it's not tasty? That person. Looking at the short message, Yichen couldn't help but feel a surge of emotions. He paused for a moment before typing a brief reply, okay. Although Mosheng seemed confident, Yichen knew better not to expect too much. So, when he returned home after work and saw Mosheng cutting the potatoes in an extremely clumsy manner in the kitchen, he didn't feel the slightest disappointment. Instead, he saw her notebook on the dining table with a big red title on the webpage, Sweet and Sour Spare Ribs Recipe, and couldn't help but shake his head with a mixture of sighs and amusement. He walked over and took the knife from her hand, skillfully cutting the potatoes into shreds. Mosheng widened her eyes as she watched his movements, feeling devastated. Yichen, why do you know how to cook? She left no room for her escape. I started helping my aunt cook when I was 10. Oh. Such skillful knife work must have taken a long time to practice. Mosheng suddenly felt a bit sad. When she was living an easy life, Yichen was dependent on others. If only I had met you earlier. Reaching out his arm, he hugged her from behind, and her head leaned against his shoulder. Yichen, teach me, and I'll cook for you in the future. In that warm embrace, it seemed as if all the lingering doubts in his heart evaporated. That's fine, Yichen thought. Let the past be the past forever, and never care again. Because he was so exhausted. So eager, can't wait to be happy.